Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is March 21st, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 36 of me answering all your immigration questions in the comments. Here we go, I have all of them open in front of me. Before we begin, I'm gonna mention I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in my videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and Department of State. Alrighty, let's begin with the very first comment from Nicholas Nana Boateng. And I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names. Please help us with correct answers for trickish questions. I-130. I have to join my dear wife soon. Okay, so that's the comment that was posted on the recent video that I made for I-130 where I described the full process, full family reunification process just from start to finish, from filling out the Form I-130, then, you know, the USCIS processing, the NVC processing, medical examination, interview, all of that sort of stuff. And when I was talking about the interview, and specifically whenever it comes to husband-wife situation, spouse, right, spousal, whenever you invite spousal, I mentioned that whenever it comes to these specific interviews, right, whenever it is for marriage, there are extra questions, right, that you normally don't get, you know, if it's parents, if it's children. Because whenever it comes to parents, children, you establish the relationship and that's it, really. There is nothing that can be faked. You can't fake your parents, you can't fake your children. I mean, you probably can, but you have to really be elaborate or sophisticated, I don't know, whatever you have to be. You have to be some serious business, all right, in order to fake that. I don't recommend doing that. But whenever it comes to marriage, unfortunately, there's a lot of fraud whenever it comes to immigration and marriage specifically. And of course, USCIS here, they understand that. That's why, you know, if there's a, you know, marriage green card, there will be some additional interviews, there will be some additional questions, and the same goes for the interviews back at the US embassies in whatever countries, you know, where your beneficiary is passing. So Nicholas, the good news whenever it comes to those trickish questions is that if the marriage is real, you don't have to worry about it at all. Whenever I say trickish questions, I mean questions like, for example, let's say a husband is inviting, you know, petitioning for his wife. His wife is going through she's the beneficiary. She's going through the interview. For example, the question might be like, what was the last gift that you got your husband for his birthday, for his last birthday, right? Something like this. Something that only she would know and only you would know. Something very personal, something that you can't really, I mean, you can obviously lie and you can, you know, fake the answer, but the thing is, you know, in a lot of times when they do the green card interviews based on the marriage here, they put the husband, they put the wife in separate rooms, and then they ask them the same question, and obviously if there's a mismatch, then okay, there's a problem. So similar questions. So again, if the marriage is real, it's really not going to be a problem. The trickish questions, they're not even going to look like the trickish questions, because you'll be like, just like, oh, okay, so it's just a personal question. Yeah, this is what, you know, that we went to vacation. Last time I saw her, I took her out to the restaurant there, or something like this. Something that is very personal, all right? Something that establishes that relationship is real. Because if you ask a question like this from someone who is not really married, their answer will be like, you know, unless they're already prepared, which, I mean, a lot of times they do whenever it comes to fictitious marriages, which is really unfortunate. But questions like this, they filter out this fake stuff. It's good. It's not a bad thing. So, Nicholas, you don't have to worry about anything. You know, when the marriage is real, those trickish questions, they're not really even trickish. All right, they're trickish for those who fake the stuff. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one from Firdos Kasim. I'm recently watching your videos and it's really helpful. Thank you, Firdos. Thank you for watching, and I'm glad they're helpful. My husband filed I-130 on October 2020 and still waiting for approval. He is US citizen and I am from Ethiopia, and we sent our petition to California Service Center. I really want to know about K3 if it's good way to get our approval. Thank you. Okay, great question, Firdos. Thank you for asking. So whenever it comes to K3, it's basically non-immigrant visa for spouses of US citizens, okay? So in your situation, it would be perfect. I would say K3 in general is a little bit, it's one of those strange visas, because if you think about it, you are petitioning for an immigration, right? You have an immigrant petition, and yet you go and you apply for a non-immigrant visa. It's kind of contradicting. I think eventually DHS, together with U.S. Immigration Services, I think they're gonna fix the basically the definition of the visa, or maybe category of the visa, classification of the visa. But right now, in your situation, that would be the best. And also, I'm gonna use the opportunity to demonstrate some navigation on USCIS.gov, as I always like to do. And we're gonna go to Tools. We're gonna actually look up some processing times for the spouses of US citizens whenever it comes to the California Service Center and the Form I-130. So we're gonna go to US processing time, USCIS processing time, and we're gonna select I-130 here. Category US citizen for spouse, and it's gonna be California Service Center. And I know you said it October 2020. So 10.5 months. So we have, let's see, I'm not gonna count October, November, December, January, February, March. Okay, so 5 months already passed. So you have another 5 months before USCIS is done with their processing. Sometimes it's faster than that because it's only 80%. Sometimes it's a little bit slower. If it takes a little bit more, don't let that scare you. Sometimes it does. Once USCIS approves this petition, they transfer it to the NVC, which is probably another month. And then at the NVC, the processing, once you submit all the documents to get documentarily qualified, probably another month. So you're looking probably by the end of this year, it should be taken care of. So I think if you get the K3 visa right now, I think it would be perfect, and you will be able to, come and visit your husband without any problems while you're waiting for the petition to get approved. All right, so I'm gonna post this, and we're gonna move on to the next comment from Adriana Isa. My partner did the VAWA. Okay, so VA, it's a victim of it's a special category for the victims of domestic abuse. Application, I had no idea till he accused me of domestic violence, which is not true, but sometime later I reported him for domestic violence, so he was denied. Then when this happened, he told me I was just a plan to get his papers. Now we are... Wow. Adriana, I'm very sorry that you're going through this. This is one of the dark sides of the immigration, unfortunately. And in the beginning, I was responding to Nicholas' comment, and I was mentioning the marriage fraud, and you can see here with Adriana, it's really sad. All right, it's really sad that people take advantage. It's one thing when people take advantage of the system and they try to find their way to do something, to immigrate, to whatever, to make things go faster. But it is another thing when people use other people to accomplish their goals. It's horrible. It's, I can say it shouldn't be happening, but the fact is it will be happening. So Adriana, I'm very, very sorry that this happened to you. Everybody has their own reward. Okay, God is good. So just forgive that person, let them go. He's out of your life, and you don't have to share anything with him anymore. This is really sad. I'm really sorry you're going through this, Adriana. I wish I could tell you more, but it kind of left me speechless. Honestly, personally, I hate when this stuff like this happens. Because I myself am an immigrant, and I spend a lot of time, obviously, going and through your questions and answering them, helping people who want to immigrate, who want to do everything correct. And it's really sad that there are people out there that, in spite of all the information, all these available ways to do it the right way, they choose to do it a dirty, dark way. It's very sad. Okay, let's move on to the next comment from Bharat Sharma. I-730. Which visa categories? Marriage-based visa. Okay, Bharat. So I'm assuming I'm assuming you're asking about the entry whenever you enter the United States. I'm assuming that's the question. If that's not the question that you have, please specify a little bit better, and I will address it. For everyone who's responding to my answer, please submit a separate comment. Don't respond to within your comment, because that way I don't see the notification. When you submit a separate comment, I have it here in my notifications in my comments wall. So I'm assuming, Bharat, you're asking for the visa category when you enter the United States. Basically, just put whichever visa you entered on. If it was B1, B2, put the B1, B2. If it was student, F1. If it was exchange visitor, J1. Right? So just the visa that you used in order to enter the country. But again, if that's not what you're asking, please specify a little bit more your question, and I will be getting back to that. All right, moving further from Francois, I think Mary Alshis. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. If I fail to renew my green card online, do I have to send documents attached? Okay, yes. So whenever you're filling out the online application, that's a really nice thing about online applications, and I recommend everyone who's watching, if there is an option to file online, file it online. It makes it much easier, prevents a lot of mistakes, just much better, much smoother overall process. So whenever you're filling out the online application, once you're done with the application itself, you will have further in the online application, you will have the special field where you can drag and drop, upload the documents that are required, the initial documents. There is an option to skip that. I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend waiting for the request for initial evidence from USCIS like some people do, like some attorneys advise. Horrible advice. Don't listen to that. Try to submit everything in one package. That makes the application as strong as possible, and that's what I recommend doing for sure. But whenever it comes to online applications, it's the same way. You will have stuff to upload. Once you upload stuff, you will see there will be an option to pay for the application. Once you pay the application, it is submitted directly to the USCIS, and that's it, really. That's, as soon as they get to processing of that application, they'll start processing it. All right, let's move on further to Amir Ilyas. Please, could you advise of this situation? Wife apply I-130 for her husband. They got documentary qualified, email, okay, great, and waiting for interview, but due to backlog, her husband tried for visit visa and he got the visa and entered in USA with non-immigrant visa so they can apply I-485. Okay, Amir, so looks like a great situation. I wouldn't worry about, you don't have to worry about I-485, the adjustment of status. You don't have to do any of that separately at all, all right? It's all handled on the NVC side. If they are already documentarily qualified, it means everything is already done. The only thing that is left is the medical examination and the interview. It should be scheduled anytime now because there is no visa backlog whenever it comes to spouses, all right? Husband, wife, inviting children under 21 unmarried. If you're a US citizen, inviting parents. There is no visa backlog for those categories, all right? So once it is documentarily qualified, it's transferred to the U.S. Embassy. Not really transferred to U.S. Embassy because U.S. embassies, they are part of the Department of State. But they basically, the NVC sends the request to the U.S. Embassy saying, hey, we got these guys documentarily qualified, this beneficiary. Please schedule the immigrant visa interview for the beneficiary. And usually it takes about a month. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, depending on which country the U.S. Embassy is in. Some of the U.S. embassies, they are busier than the others. Some of them, they have a little bit of the wait. But my probably main answer that I would say to this question, to this comment, is that there is no backlog at all for this. Once you are documentarily qualified, the immigrant visa is already available. It is already there. All they have to do, the beneficiary, is just go and get it, and it's going to be pretty soon, anytime now, if they're already documentarily qualified. All right, let's move on to the next one from Monica Pierre. Thank you so much. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much, Monica. Appreciate kind words. My case was approved in 2015, and I have been waiting and not hearing anything on the case. It's at NVC. I don't know what to do. Okay, I remember answering your initial comment about this one, and I said that it's taking a little bit longer than it should. So, I would recommend submitting a public inquiry form, and I'm gonna actually use this opportunity to demonstrate navigation on where to find it. So this is the travel.state.gov, which is an official government website for the Department of State, specifically for the Bureau of Consular Affairs, basically dealing everything you can think of, the NVC, U.S. embassies, all that stuff can be found here. So this is where on this official government website is where you can submit that public inquiry form. So it doesn't matter which page you open, you can just go to the home page. I'm going to show the home page so you know exactly how it looks like, and you will find the links in the description below. So all you need to do is just click on contact us, and then on US visas contacts, and then we're gonna scroll down and you will see public inquiry form right here. So we're gonna click on that, and then it will not give us much, but we'll click on this public inquiry form once again, and that will take us, I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, this will take us to the public inquiry form. So here you will see you will have an option to enter NVC case number or USCIS receipt number. I'm assuming you already have NVC case number because we probably should have been already transferred to the NVC, I'm assuming. And then obviously, you know, principal applicant's full name, the petitioner, principal applicant's date of birth, petitioner's full name. So in principal applicant, it's not going to be the petitioner, it's going to be beneficiary because there is a petitioner's full name here. Who are you? Your identity. Are you a petitioner? Are you principal applicant, beneficiary, attorney? Your email, and then your inquiry. You can submit attachments. I would recommend submitting just a screenshot of the email from them saying that the case was approved and that was transferred. In the inquiry box below here, I would recommend just kind of writing a little, just a few sentences saying, hey, you know, according to the visa bulletin, the certain category that I'm in, you know, the visas are becoming available for a certain date, and it's already been for me past that date, and I'm still waiting. Please advise. Please let me know what's going on. Now, these public inquiry forms, I just want to warn you, Monica, they don't guarantee anything. You might not necessarily get a good response from them, but regardless, even if you just get a boilerplate response saying that, oh yeah, we're still processing, oh yeah, visa's still not available, still, you gave a little bit of that nudge to them saying, hey guys, I did not forget about this. I'm on top of my case. It's taking longer. Here you go. Take a look. It gives them a little bit of a nudge, and it's a good thing. You definitely want it. Just be very polite, be very professional in obviously your cover letter that you're sending to them. But definitely do that, and hopefully that will kind of give a little bit of a push to that case. All right, let's move on to the next one from Pasang Sherpa. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir, for watching. Moving further to Tarek Rahman. Tarek, thank you for follow-up question. I appreciate it. My case I-130 spouse is pending with the California Service Center. What does it mean? Okay, so if your case is still pending with USCIS, California Service Center, it means that it's still being processed with the California Service Center. Now, I think we already have it. I-130, U.S. citizen. Is it U.S. citizen? Okay, so you don't specify whether it's a U.S. citizen or, well, it doesn't really matter. So if it's a U.S. citizen, then it's going to be 10 and a half months. If it is permanent resident, I'm pretty sure it's just a little bit about the double. Not a little bit, but oh no, actually this is much more. This is much more for California Service. Wow, California Service Center is not. Wait, this is son and daughter. Sorry about that. That's not the right one. This is the one that we need. California Service Center. Come on, 25. Okay, so it's double that. So if it is still pending with USCIS, it means that USCIS is still reviewing your initial I-130 application. All right. Once it is done reviewing, once it is approved by USCIS, it is then transferred to the NVC for further processing. I know it takes time, it's annoying, and whenever it comes to spouses of permanent residents, this is the longest of the process, okay? Because there is no backlog on immigrant visas for spouses of US citizens and permanent residents. So once it is approved by USCIS and transferred to the NVC, it's much faster from there because there is no backlog. But as for now, just patience. That's really the only thing, unfortunately, I can recommend. Okay, moving further to Preet Randhawa. Hey, can you tell me what documents are required to renew the work permit after receiving the grant letter? Okay, Preet, so whenever it comes to renewing the work permit, really there's not much. Basically, you need to establish that you still qualify for a work permit, for employment authorization document. So if you it depending on your eligibility, for example, if you, let's say, initially applied for employment authorization document based on pending asylum application that has been pending for over 150 days, 180 days, and then you got the employment authorization, and now, a year down the road or 2 years down the road, I think it's 1 year for whenever it's asylum, and the employment authorization is expiring. When you're renewing, really you're just showing again the same eligibility, showing that, hey, I'm still pending asylum, I'm still eligible for the employment authorization document, and that's really it. So renewal is pretty much the same as the initial application, only a little bit simpler because you've already done that before. But for the most part, it's really exactly the same documents, just establishing your eligibility. All right, let's move on further to Tashani Harrison. Do you think the visa bulletin will move anytime soon? Tashani, thank you for your question. It's a really good question. So if you're not familiar with the visa bulletin, I would recommend checking out the video that I've done called Understanding. I'm not sure, let me see where Tashani, actually I don't have it here. It's called Understanding Visa Bulletin, and I'm gonna make an updated one soon once the April 2023 comes out. But basically, Visa Bulletin, the purpose of Visa Bulletin is to show how much of a backlog there is on visas, on immigrant visas, whenever it comes to family reunification, whenever it comes to those petitions for alien relative, all right, I-130 petitions. And each month there is a new visa bulletin that is coming out, and the dates, supposedly, they're supposed to update. A lot of times they stay the same, sometimes they go slower, sometimes backlog accumulates, sometimes backlog slowly disappears and cuts short. And that's really what the question is about. This is what Tashani is asking. So I really hope to see some movement. I can't say for sure if it's gonna speed up or not. And there's two major impacts, right? So one major impact that we had on the whole issuance of immigrant visas, it was during this whole pandemic stuff that was happening a couple of years ago, right? So the backlog, it accumulated like crazy because for like almost a year, I think, there was no visas issued at all. So just a whole year plus all of the applications that were submitted within that year, they accumulated. So the accumulation in the backlog was just huge. It was enormous during this pandemic that they destroyed. It was already pretty bad backlog, and now it's much worse. Now, since we are back to kind of running at normal speed, now we are starting to catch up. However, here's the problem with the visa bulletin in general. I think that Congress, they cannot understand it. I don't know who sits there and makes these decisions, but I don't think they understand it. Is that every year, for the most part, the applications, whenever it comes to the petitions, it's growing. All right, it's not becoming less, it's growing. So just because we are taking care of the backlog, it does not mean that we are accommodating more immigrant visas availability for additional applications that are being submitted that are over the previous year and the previous year and the previous year. So while we're taking care of the backlog here, we're building the backlog over here. And that's why you see a lot of cases that you would think, priority one category, a son or daughter of a US citizen. And then you look at the backlog and you realize how long they have to wait, and you're like, this is nuts. So to answer your question, I hope that they will speed up the visa backlog, but I don't think they will speed up if things stay the same. There really needs to be something major done, an immigration reform, just a whole review of the way these visas are issued, the availability of these visas, and some of the categories that are some of the priority categories. I don't think they're supposed to have any cap at all. Like, for example, for kids of US citizens. Why would there be a cap for a child of a US citizen? Under 21, over 21, who cares? It's still a child of a US citizen. They're still going through the process. They're doing everything legally. And yet we are giving them such a... It's Congress, they care more about their political garbage rather than actual people. So whenever you hear, whether it's Democrat, whether it's Republican, talking about the immigration and saying how, we know for a fact that they don't know, I don't want to say bad words on this channel, but they don't know what they're talking about. This is the reality of it, because 99% of them, they haven't been through the process, they're not familiar with the process, and then 1% in there who actually went through that process, they play the game of the politics. They're not for the people. It's really sad, but it's just the way it is. All right, let's move on to the next one from Nomad. Nomad sent $20. Nomad, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Everyone who's supporting this channel, I really, really appreciate it. If you want to support this channel, you can support it like Nomad through although $20 is a lot. Nomad, I really appreciate it. That's a lot of money. So you can just send a $1, if you want to support. And then you can support through the channel memberships as well. You can join the membership. Again, you can join for as low as $1. And this money actually, it don't go to my pocket. All this money I spent in order to bring back and give back into this channel to help more people, because I have a full-time job and I make enough money, so I don't really, extra money is good, but I have enough. Okay, so I went through this process myself. I'm an immigrant myself, and I went through a very, very lengthy process. So so to me, be able and give back, it's a blessing. Okay, so but anyway, with that being said, the money that I do get from this channel, I put back into the channel by doing the translations. So far, I have already several videos that have been... I start with the most popular videos that have the most demand. And obviously, the first language I started translating with Spanish. Another one is probably going to be... I don't know which one, but you guys let me know. Which language would you like to see translated and which video? And I'll make that happen. Okay, let's move on to the next... comment question from Freehy Wood, probably going to be the last in this volume. Please answer my question. I'm very frustrated because I miss my son. I'm very sorry to hear that, Freehy I have 730 refugee asylum relative petition process monitored by a company called RSC Africa. My case started to 2018. All the process, first interview, and my son and me DNA test is submitted. But still my case is pending. I don't understand the problem. I have been suffering for 6 years. Where should I ask? When I email RSC Africa, always they say your case is pending. Now my son has got citizenship. Okay, I have waited so many years this process and I don't want to start again. I-130 process. I'm living in Lesotho, city as immigrant. Please answer my question. Okay, Freya, that's I will have to do some research on this RSC Africa. I'm not sure what that is, and I'm also not sure why are they even involved in this immigration process in general. Because whenever it comes to I-730 the petition, It goes directly to the USCIS, and I'm actually going to open up USCIS here, processing times, and we're going to look up the 730 and see how long they take. Ta-da, petition for a Comic-Con family member of an asylee. Well, in this case, an asylee, and you said you're refugee. I'm not sure which service center it is, but we're going to check both. Let's see. So Texas is about 2 years in Texas, and Nebraska is less, much less. Okay, so about a year in Nebraska and about 2 years in Texas. So even taking the Texas as is in your situation the longest, it still takes only just under 2 years. And you say it's been already 6 years. So it points to me that the problem might be with this RSC Africa. So I'm not sure which organization it is or what they do, but I would highly recommend starting an I-130 petition because your son is already a US citizen. You are his parent. Whenever it comes to parents of US citizens, there is no visa cap. There is no immigrant visa cap. So right now, if your son submits the I-130 right now for you, right, it's going to be a process. It's going to take some money. It's going to cost your son for sure. It's not a free petition. But it's about roughly about 10 months for processing, all right, on the USCIS side. Then the case is transferred to the NVC. If your son is staying on top of his financials and everything, and he can fill out all the sponsorship information, about a couple of months processing on the NVC, then you go. So within a year, you will be already immigrating into the United States as a permanent resident. Okay, compared to relying on RSC Africa, which is clearly not, I'm not sure, maybe it's some kind of third party. I know the country where I'm from, we have a lot of third parties. They're not even third party. They are, for the most part, scam artists. All right, they promise you certain things. They say that they do certain things. You pay them a lot of money, and then you wait. Really, for the most part. So I'm not sure if that's the case. If that's the same with in Africa, but I know that in my country we have a lot of those. And don't ever do business with anybody in your own country unless it's U.S. Embassy themselves, all right? Or if it's a USCIS approved physician who you're going for a medical examination. Anybody else who's involved in the process, they are not an official government source. I wouldn't recommend dealing with them. So honestly, one thing that you can do probably might be a good idea before submitting a petition I-130. If your son submitted the I-730, he should have had the receipt numbers, all that sort of stuff. He can send an inquiry, a case inquiry to USCIS, and he can do it through the official government website, USCIS. Here actually on this page, processing time, I'll show you, there is a, let's see, inquire about a case outside normal processing time. There you go. So here it is. Here's the link. This is the link for this page. You can just Google it, or I would recommend accessing directly through the uscis.gov official website. So you see outside of normal processing times. So let your son submit this form right here, fill out all the information about the petition, submit it, and then see what they respond. If they do respond, say, hey, yes, we do have this petition. It is a real petition. It's still processing from USCIS, not from the RSC Africa or whatever, directly from USCIS. Then I would say, okay, maybe it's still pending, which it shouldn't, because like I said, on USCIS side, the longest is about 2 years. All right, and you've been waiting already for 6 years. So definitely do that. And if there is nothing, if USCIS says we can't find anything like this, we can find this case, which I think is going to be the situation in this case, because there is a third party involved. And again, I'm going to do more research on that RSC Africa. Then definitely submit that I-130 instead of just waiting and relying on these third parties. That's, with that being said, I have to finish up this video. It's already becoming too long, but for everyone who's watching this video, I wanted to say That's one of the reasons why I started this channel, is because I saw from my personal experience and from, working in this field and seeing other petitions, other cases, most of the times problems like FreeWatt is experiencing, most of the times these problems happen because we relied on somebody else to do something for us. And in this case, there is this RSC Africa involved. Relied on RSC Africa to do everything for them, and look where it got them. And it's the same goes for anybody. It goes for immigration attorneys, it goes for immigration consultants, immigration practitioners, friends, forums, whoever. It doesn't matter. Even this channel, all right? Don't take my word for that's it. That's why I try to provide the information directly from government sources, because I don't want to anything come from, my personal ideas. I might have ideas and I'll say, hey, Congress could change this, could change that. But as the process is right now, the only place where you can find the answers, exact answers as the way the process is right now, is on official government sources, USCIS and the Department of State. So, FreeWatt, I hope that you are able to resolve this. If you could follow up, I would really appreciate it. Because, whenever I give answers to your questions, I really like to know if it was helpful, if I helped you resolve your situation. I'm not just saying, yeah, do something, in order to just say something. I really mean help for everyone whose comments, whose questions I am responding. So thank you everyone for watching. Always appreciate your time. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.